being a Spider-Man and taking you around back and throwing a tower over your head and flashbanging you. That was one game I just could not get into. You have the skin and you unlocked it is because you were a badass. Like, winning is fun.
Who are you and what do you like to do?
Uh, my name's Alonso. I like to play video games, obviously.
Mhm.
I like playing bass, like swimming, going to the gym, cutting my grass. Surprisingly, sometimes not with this Texas heat lately, but pretty much it.
And then
Kind of the basics.
what job do you do? If you feel comfortable talking about that, what job do you do to support your gaming addiction
Uh,
and gooning addiction?
I'll keep. I don't think I needed a job to support that addiction.
Fair enough.
Uh, I'm a full stack web developer. To put it simple, I make websites.
Hmm.
So mostly for internal employees, nothing like a world facing. Like no one can just go to the website link and see it unless you're not an employee for the company.
With the job that you currently do, working with computers online and the internet, do you feel like gaming kind of got you into that, or do you think that you're always into computers and being into computers was a byproduct of you being into video games?
I don't know. I think uh, being into video games uh, made me be want to get into computers. I think a little more.
Hmm.
So I actually wanted to start off by making video games. I wanted to be a game developer,
Okay.
but my university just didn't have the courses for it. So I kind of just shifted into making websites. That's kind of like the base thing. Everyone started learning how to make websites back with MySpace.
Yeah. I feel like, yeah, that's the thing is I feel like a lot of people who are really into video games are, I want to make video games, I want to do this, and they get into the real nitty gritty, and it's pretty hard to make. Like even a bad video game is still a feat to make.
It is, but honestly, there was only one course where we made our own video game, really,
Hmm.
and it was one of the funnest courses ever. We just did like those old school side scroller like shooters. Like you have the wave of enemy airplanes, and you're the other fighter jet just like shooting down like these other formation planes,
Okay.
and that was honestly really fun to make. So
Well,
it does have its pros and cons. It can get difficult, but those ones that was fun, just experiencing how to make it.
I think with most things, if you start easy, it makes sense to ramp up to the harder stuff. Like that's why we learn algebra, and we don't all go straight into calculus and trigonometry. Because if we just went straight to calculus and trigonometry, there'll be those little kids that will perform, and then there'll be majority that are banging their head against a wall and just do not understand.
Yeah, kind of have the
Um,
baby steps.
I was gonna say you can see a game like Elden Ring, Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk, and be like, I want to make that. Not but in the grand scheme of things, your most people's first games might be like the first nine,
Making Pong.
yeah, making Pong and making asteroids. Not, I know I would like my first game if I ever make a game to be Elden Ring 2, but it's gonna probably be Pong, and it still won't, and it won't play as good as Pong.
Won't play as good as Pong. You're still gonna have way lag. That ball, you're gonna be right there. That ball just gonna phase through it.
Yeah. Pong.
I don't know how to get it to knock back.
I'm gonna have to make three ping pongs or three paddles, just so if it passes one, there's always the second one to make sure it goes through it.
Yeah,
That's how
gotta
I
work on
fix
that
that bug.
collision physics.
Yeah. All right. Well, what got you into gaming? Is there someone in your life that was like you need to play this game, or was it just one thing that parents or a grandparent or family member just bought for you, or went to a friend's house and you saw someone do it and it's like, oh, I want to do that.
So for me, like the earliest memories was already just like playing games. Like it was back when the PS2 came out and all the hype for it, and having a PlayStation 2. Uh, I don't know if there's anything that led my dad prior to this of wanting to get one, or he just bought it because of the hype with everybody else and wanted to be, a family who had a PS2. And I just remember we had a PlayStation 2, the big, the fat, the thick ones with 4 lines, 4 or 5 lines. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
we just had from then, I just remember always playing video games, always having something to play. So, yeah, earliest memory, if I can even think, I can't even think of a time before not having a PlayStation 2.
I will say, I think the PlayStation 2 was a very smart move on Sony because it came equipped with a DVD player when DVD players were just cost as much or a little less than a PlayStation 2. So I can have something that I could watch movies with and play video games. And I feel like during the PlayStation 2 time, video games were finally like coming out of that realm of, oh, this is a toy, and starting to
Yeah.
become more of a, oh, this is like another way to experience a story. So I guess so it sounds like your first console was the PS2. What was the first game you remember playing?
I don't remember which exactly was the first, but there's definitely two that come to mind. It was ATV Off Road Fury 2, just riding around quads and dirt bikes, just doing a
Hmm.
bunch of racing. Which I think there's part of it that I can't remember if it was just purely racing or if they actually had some kind of like open world environment exploration kind of thing with
Hmm.
it. I just remember always putting in the cheat code back when you could actually had cheat codes that you
Yeah.
could put into games. I kind of miss that. That was like the fun little Easter egg finding those getting them cheat code books. But the cheat codes, I give up, and you unlocked everything in the game immediately. That was great. Uh,
Yeah.
as well as Kingdom Hearts, the first Kingdom Hearts. That was uh, the first two games I remember playing. Don't know exactly which one was first, but those two were the earliest ones.
Does I know a lot of Kingdom Heart fans, that gaming series has a lot of means a lot to them. Does Kingdom Hearts mean a lot to you? Especially, it's one of those game series that kind of grows up with the player. Feel like a lot of people started playing it when they were grade school, middle school, and now play it till college into adulthood. Is that a game series that was like that for you?
Oh, definitely. That's the old nostalgia game for me. Where like when Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, I was waiting. I almost fought the Walmart employee for the last copy of Kingdom Hearts 3 because he didn't want to give it to me because he also wanted it, but he couldn't get it until he was off of work. And I was like, "Sorry, man. I'm here. I got cash right here. I want this game. It's mine."
Yeah, I think being a Walmart employee is hard because it's one of those jobs where you see all these things you want, you're surrounded by it all the time, but you know you can't hide it. You'll get fired if you hide it. And at what point do you just start fighting customers? Like, I mean,
I mean,
if I was that Walmart customer, I mean, I would have lost my job and still got that copy. You would have gotten a black eye. Like,
I think there's a certain point of how many times are you losing copies to a customer. I think there's been plenty of times where uh, walking in to buy something and it's ended up being the last copy. Like with the Nintendo Wii came out, we bought the last one in stock. Same thing with our PlayStation 2 had broke and we are gonna buy a new one. And it was the new slim PS2s and it was the silver one. It was the
mhm.
last one in stock. Same thing with the bought the PS3, last PlayStation in stock. So it seems like every time going out to buy a console, it's always ends up being like the last item in stock.
Yeah, with how scalpers are right now, I wonder if like those employees, because I mean, a lot of people play video games. I would say a majority of Americans play video games. So I imagine like if you work at a Best Buy, a Walmart, or a Target, and you see someone scalping all these consoles, I'm sure to them it's like, oh, this hurts inside. I don't want to make
Yeah.
this sale. Can I refuse sale?
I mean, technically, you could, depending on the kind of job. I mean, if it's
Yeah.
like depending on the owners, it's something, you always have that sign like you can refuse service to anybody,
Mm,
especially, but big corporate Walmart, corporate America probably won't let you.
yeah. Yeah, they're gonna want their money at the end of the day, and I get it. I mean, I would want my money too.
Yeah. So you told me I got some idiot about to buy 30 Nintendo Switch 2s? Sure.
I Look. Here's the thing. If it would make me an extra dollar, if I had to scalp 30 Nintendo Switch 2s and I only made $1 of profit, I'm doing it. That's gains. I would sell my soul for something like that. I would do it if it got me a Whopper at the end.
Just for a Whopper.
Yeah, just for a
Just for a nice,
Whopper.
just for a Whopper. Maybe a Big Mac and some secret sauce.
I could. You don't even have to throw the sauce in there. Like I get where they're coming from. Honestly, they're heroes. We need more scalpers.
The rage bait on that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, jeez. That's one of those ones where if I see scalpers, honestly, if it's
Oh,
just
it's on
one
site.
person,
It's on site.
I'm like, what are you gonna do to stop me just from taking one of the 30 you got in your trunk right now? Like,
And your trunk,
you can't even
not in
you're
your
not even
cart.
able to just you can't even shut the lid. Like, I'm just gonna take one, buddy. I'm helping you close it. Like,
Yeah, I'm helping your
what are you gonna
closing
do?
cost.
Let me. I can take your license plate, dox you real quick, and you're gonna lose all 30 of them.
Well, um, get into my next question. What's your favorite genre? If a game comes out, maybe you've never heard of it, new IP, but it's this kind of genre. What is it, and why is it your favorite?
I don't know if it's probably a specific name for this genre, but it's I would kind of say like single player, open world, but like linearly led exploration. Like
Okay.
you end up you can explore everything eventually, but you're kind of being linearly led through the world. Like Kingdom Hearts does it, right? Like you're gonna go place to place in the world, but you can eventually go back and see everything.
Like,
Assassin's Creed, kind of the same thing ish, not as linearly led, but
yeah, you're in
you
this
have that open world exploration.
you're in this big playground, but it's not really like a sandbox where it's like it's time for you to figure out what happens. It's kind of you get they kind of not hold your hand, but they kind of tell you where to go next, like an amusement park. Here's the ride that you're gonna
Yeah,
do next, and now here's the next ride you're gonna do.
yeah,
Okay,
like GTA would. That one Ubisoft, I think it's Watch Dogs.
yeah, I feel like those would just be
So
called open world action adventure. Just I think
yeah, I
that
can see it.
the action slash adventure I think gives it the meaning that it's gonna be linear. All right,
Yeah,
well
but it
what's
has to have a good story as well. I think
well
that's a huge thing. If it's
uh,
not a
that
good story,
that's given.
then it's definitely one of those ones. Like if it's it needs to have like at least just from their trailer, give me a story that seems enticing.
Yeah, which yeah, that's just fair. I would say you can have a cool looking game, but if the story's bad, that's gonna be a struggle.
Yeah,
You can have now you can have a game that might be a little lackluster, but if the story's really good, I would say
yeah,
I think it's kind of a mix of both. You can have a game like Dark Souls where the story 95% of the story is on YouTube, and you have to read item descriptions to understand, and but it's all kind of loose, and it's your first time playing through, and you're like, this makes no sense at all. Well, what kind of games can't you get into? What's the one game that's like, I really want to like this, I just can't do it.
for me, Arc. I
Arc,
could not get into Arc. I
what's
just
wrong with
couldn't.
Arc?
I don't know if it's the graphics or I just kind of somewhat burnt out of sandboxes a little bit. Uh, I just could never get into it. Everyone were just going in. I just seemed like I have no idea what the heck to do or what I'm doing or what my end goal here is. I know it's just like go tame a dinosaur, be able to have a dinosaur as a pet and ride it and go attack other dinosaurs. Build your cabin, your fortress. I just that was one game I just could not get into. Um, at all. And it's
Yeah,
completely different things than like Minecraft. Like Minecraft sandbox is completely one thing as well. I can't think of another sandbox. I never played like Rust, but I feel like Rust kind of would give me like the same kind of vibe as Ark. Just obviously different IPs.
yeah, I think with those kinds of games, you have to make your own story. I think it's hard to like when there's like the goal is figure it out. There's no like I need you to do A and B. It's just here's this world, go have fun in it, do whatever you want. And it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
What's there like and I know a lot of people say, oh well the fun is the end game. The fun is the end game, where it's like, well, the 95% of the way to get to the end game, that's not really that fun. I've never really played those games, but I've heard similar things from what you're saying.
Yeah. Or we talk about like and even games like where the end game is like the fun part. Like you talk about that, like that just brings up to me like Destiny 2, hated end game grinding. I never did it. I was like, I don't want a game where my end game is having to repeat the same thing over and over again for the 0.0001% chance I'm gonna get a piece of armor that makes me better than everybody else. Hated having to grind in Destiny 2. Those end games are just awful.
Yeah, I think that's the worst part is like when the grind to the end game sucks, and then the end game also sucks.
Yeah.
Now, are you the kind of person that likes to play one game at a time, or do you like to bounce around a few games at a time?
If it's like a single player story, I will probably stick with that one game um, and play that one. I don't think I would touch another single player story in the middle of it. But if it's like, say, we're doing multiplayer, I got no problem swapping from like Fortnite to Call of Duty to Marvel
Hmm.
Rivals, to GTA Online, but then still end up going back to my single player story game.
Okay,
So
so when it comes to a single player game, just one at a time. Multiplayer, you can bounce around. There's no like I'm gonna play this one multiplayer game and just grind the hell out of it.
yeah, that one can be whatever, any order, whatever's just the feeling, the moment, whatever friends want to hop on. We'll just I got no problem swapping over. But the single story, I'd rather not because I'm just gonna end up forgetting my story, and then just go to the other one and maybe get so caught up in one. Like if I got so caught up in Spider-Man 2 that I completely forgot about Jedi Fallen Order.
Yes, which I feel like a lot of people try to bounce around single player games and they end up doing that.
Yeah, that's what ends up happening. You get to such a good part of that story in the game and the gameplay that you don't want to go back to the other one because you're enjoying this one so much. And then if you end up do somehow forcing yourself to go back, you then completely forgot like what was I doing? This equipment? How does this work?
But yes, and I think that's the hardest part is like playing a game you were good at, you take a break and you come back and the game expects you to have your same skill, but it feels like you're playing through mud and mashed potatoes.
Yeah, I just like I forget all the combos, especially like if you do Kingdom Hearts has a bunch of combos, Spider Man has combos. So and then even with like Jedi Fallen Order, I know like there's the parry timings. I can't remember too much of the
Yes.
combos, but if you tell me to go in and each one has a different jump button, I'm screwed.
What do you prefer single player games or multiplayer games?
For a multiplayer game that has a story, I could do both in the same game. Like to me, if you got a Call of Duty game and it didn't have a story, not worth it. I don't remember which Call of Duty it was. Was it 4?
Black Ops 4.
Black Ops 4, yeah, there's no story, which is all multiplayer.
Mm,
Yeah, that was one I just no, I'd rather play the story. I was always the person to where I wouldn't touch multiplayer or even zombies until I finished the story. Like I bought this game to play the story and then afterwards go enjoy single player.
yeah. How do you feel the Call of Duty stories have been holding up the past couple of years? Have you been keeping up with them?
I think the last stories I played, I want to say it was MW2. I didn't buy MW3, nor did I buy was it Vanguard, the last one that came out? Definitely didn't buy 6.
Hmm.
Uh, Bought Cold War. Cold War was pretty good. Um, I think that Modern Warfare 2019 and Modern Warfare 2 are also still very good ones as well.
The
So they're
Cold War story I really liked.
yeah, Cold War story was nice. Don't remember too much. If you ask me for details on that, that's been a while.
Yeah, I think that game came out like 4 years ago.
I just remember the ending, having to walk through and seeing numbers.
Yeah, yeah, where it was like super trippy and find out he
Yeah,
was
you got to
being
make
yeah.
yeah, making a decision, go left and right, trying to either trust the voice in that you're hearing or to just go with where you're seeing.
And then whenever you play games, this is particularly multiplayer games. Do you play for fun or do you play to win?
Winning is fun. Winning is fun. So I play for fun because I play to win. That doesn't necessarily mean there's times where like I'm just F it. I don't care if I lose. I just want to quote unquote have fun. Uh, just to not make myself, let's say, get mad at not winning or to you know, put the pressure down a little bit. But most of the times, if I'm playing, I want to win because to me, winning's fun, losing's not fun. Unless, like, if I'm playing by myself, I think most definitely I want to win. I don't want to be playing by myself and be losing, you know. But if I got friends with me and we're joking around, we're having a good time doing some dumb stuff, then I'll have no problem, you know, not caring if we win because we were just joking around and search and destroy, trying to get, a care package kill.
Now, tell me how this feels. If I'm not yelling, I'm not having fun.
I don't know how to tell you how that feels.
Like,
Not yelling, not having fun.
it doesn't have to be yelling, but it's like if I'm not getting frustrated, if I'm not, getting hyped, if my heart rate isn't getting elevated, I'm not having fun.
I can see that. There's times like there's those again, like especially like in battle royales. This happened to me a lot. Just first starting off with battle royales, being one of the last people alive, knowing you got to either clutch up and win it or you're gonna lose. Then by the time like once you finally win, you got that final kill, and you look and like my hands all shaking a little bit, like my heart rate's going fast. Those moments, those are pretty fun. Even if I was to lose, I'm just like man, like that feeling of excitement was there that I almost had this win right here. So those moments are pretty fun. If your heart rate's getting elevated, you're feeling the pressure a little bit. Yeah, I'll say that's fun.
Okay. And then let's see. Let's get into the next section of questions I have. Um, what game have you played or are playing right now that you feel needs to go viral? I feel like in the recent gaming sphere, a lot of games have just blown up out of nowhere, like Lethal Company, Repo a little bit, Black Myth Wukong, like Helldivers 2. I feel like games are becoming more and more viral every couple of months. Like the next big game is breaking records, and then the game after that that gets a big traction breaks even more records. So what's a game that isn't getting that kind of love that you feel like deserves it?
Now this game's pretty old, but it's also one of my favorites. Astroneer
Okay.
is one of my favorites. It definitely is a sandboxy. You kind of do have an end goal. There are, you're playing an astronaut in space. There's other worlds and planets. The entire planet is, you know, destroyable, and it's a full 360 planet. You can go to the center. You can walk a full circumference of the world. Uh, so the exploration on it is to me is great, and the fact that there's like I think the whole solar system like 6 planets, I think total, maybe 8. Uh, it's a really fun one to go figure out how things work. That was one of the ones I was glad they kind of didn't tell you. Here's all the things like you just had to figure out how things worked, what you need to do to make something, and then you find out how to make things better. You make your own little space base everywhere. Uh,
Hmm.
that one is a great game. And it's very old. I had that game since it was either like alpha, pre-alpha, when their every single update would break the previous saves because the way they changed things would couldn't cross over. So you always
Yeah.
had to make a new world every time they updated the game. But that game to me still deserves to blow up. I don't know if it really has. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have either heard of it or seen maybe someone play it. Uh, but that game to me deserved to get blown up way more than I think it did.
Well, and we're definitely gonna bring up Astroneer. That game's definitely gonna come up because later, but we're definitely gonna have a few more questions about that. Now, my next question is: do you finish most games you start in
For the
terms of
most
single
part,
player
yes.
games?
For the most part, yes, but definitely back in console, yeah. Any single player game I bought, I finished it. Now being on PC, um, and being like online and having more multiplayer games and friends to play with, it's definitely gone down. I have like Metro Exodus. I haven't finished it. I got pretty decently into it. I haven't finished it. I have Cyberpunk. I've started it maybe like an hour, 4 hours in. I haven't finished it. uh with Doom. I think this is Doom 2016. Supposed to be, a great freaking Doom game. I definitely have not finished that one either. Um,
Yeah, we're gonna get into
I
all
think
that.
it's I don't know if you've ever played the new Star Wars Lego Skywalker saga. That was an incredible remake of the original Lego Star Wars saga. Uh, an incredible remake. The way the details they did on it, incredible. That one even has like HDR and ray tracing. Like it's seeing the lightsaber reflect off the actual walls and bricks is beautiful to watch and play. I haven't finished that one. Granted, it's like I think it's episode 6 through 9. I still got to play. But yeah, there's definitely a couple games I haven't fully finished, and they're single player story games, and there are ones that are still single players that I definitely finished, like Middle Earth: Shadow of War.
Hmm.
That's a great game.
That is a good game.
Finished it. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands, completely finished. I'm trying to see what else I got.
Now, we'll get into all those games that you've played and haven't played. I got a few questions for those, but whenever how you said like playing on the PC, it's harder. I have to agree. Whenever there's a single player game, I tend to buy it on my PlayStation or on a console. I don't know about you. There's something about playing on the PC that makes it really hard to beat a single player game, especially when you're playing and you look at your other screen and you see Discord and you see all the homies in chat and it's like, well, I want to do what they're doing. What if something funny happens or I miss a pristine moment? And I feel like that's you don't really get that on console.
Mhm.
I feel like even though yeah, PC might be better to play games on a PC, I feel like actually finishing games is personally for me better on a console.
It definitely is. I can see that. I think right now, just thinking about it, one of the biggest things that's very nice about just playing on your console is I got my console in my living room. I got a
Hmm.
big old couch, big old TV, and the experience of playing. For me, the last game I played on that was Spider-Man 2.
Hmm.
playing that in my living room rather than on my 27-inch monitor right here, you know, and sitting in this chair. I could sure probably could be in Discord, and we can still be in Discord now in in PlayStation and Xbox now, I believe. But there is that one thing. If you see your friends are all, playing Fortnite or playing Marvel Rivals or let's say Gary's mod, they're just having a good time, and you're like, man, I kind of want to be there, and just mess around with everybody, have a good time,
Exactly.
than to delve into this story by myself and be, in some kind of escapism. But
Yeah.
I think there's always those moments where if the boys themselves are also playing a single player game, but we just all happen to be in Discord, definitely be a thing. But you just
Hmm.
have all those friends who just I don't feel like playing a single player game, or I don't got a single player game to play, so they're just gonna
Yeah.
play. Uh, they're just gonna go play some multiplayer.
Hmm. Um, Now, this might be a little bit of a strange question, so if you need to take a little time to think about it, but when you play, does it scratch that productive bone in your body? When you're playing games, does it kind of feel like you're progressing in your own mental faculties?
Now, no, it doesn't. There's times where I feel like I'll sit on my couch wanting to play something, but knowing I shouldn't because I have other things to do. Or not even if there isn't anything for me to do, but just knowing or feeling like there's something more productive I could be doing. I don't need to do it, but like I could be more productive and do something else than to sit here and play video games. Now, like that feeling has
Hmm.
definitely, crept in more.
Hmm.
But it used to not be there. It used to be like, no, I enjoy playing games. This is fun. This is my moment to myself, my self care. Self care routine, especially during Men's Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yes, yes, of course. Um, all right. Well, with that, I mean, looking at the games that you've played and a lot of games you put a lot of hours in, it seems like multiplayer games are your most popular, most played, at least right now in your current era of life. With that, what do you feel is your comfort game? Your most comforting game or a game you have fond memories of that you like to go back to and play, or maybe even just watch videos on. Maybe it's a game on a old console that you don't own anymore, but you might like to just look up a video of someone playing it just to relive a moment.
Uh, I definitely don't have one that I go back and watch people play videos of. Definitely just think because I can play it myself
Hmm.
now still. Probably Kingdom Hearts 2 out of all the Kingdom Hearts games. Uh, I don't know what it is with that combat style. I think maybe that's just because one of the more nostalgic ones I played. That one definitely I'll go back in every now and then. I know like I think within the past year, I went back and played it and I made sure to grab every collectible from like the whole synthesis item shop that they kind of have. Uh, Found every single item, all these shards, just to make every single ultimate weapon, just to go back and do it. Like I already beat the story, but technically not 100%ed because of all those extra items I could get and craft. And so I went back just to go play all of it again, or just to go experience some of those worlds again. That just brings back some nostalgia while playing. So that's always like one of the comfort games, especially if I just want like that's like a solo player game. That one for sure. If not, I kind of say sometimes Astroneer. That one I get my 2 week binge better and easier than I would from Minecraft. Like I don't get that 2 week Minecraft binge that keeps getting memed about. I
Yeah,
don't get that anymore. But like with Astroneer, I can see myself going back and like, nah, let me do it again. Just for the fun of it. So that would be my comfort as well. But that one has the multiplayer aspect because you can join up with other
yeah, you
people
can
who
play
play in
with
the
the
same world.
play with friends and all that. What system do you play Kingdom Hearts 2 on?
Uh, I don't have it on PC, even though I know it's available and there's mods that you can do, which sounds great. But I don't feel like paying full price for a
Yeah,
is it
20-year-old
almost
game.
20-year-old game?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have it for PlayStation 3 and PS4. But now that I have the PS5 and PS4 games are uh, backwards compatible, I just pop that sucker into the PS5.
Okay.
Get a little upscaling action, I think.
Yeah, I think it upscales a little bit. All right, well, now it's time to get in the meat and potatoes, your backlog. And I know you know I'm going to have some questions. So, seems like you're really into Marvel Rivals and Fortnite.
Currently,
So yes,
yes.
currently. So currently you have 273 hours on Marvel Rivals. And
Wow.
that number sounds like it shocks you a little bit.
It really does. I don't think I have that many hours.
Now, this one, we'll talk about both. Now, this one, I think you have more. I don't think this website I'm using is fully updated. And also, is your Fortnite, I don't want to say it out loud, so I'll make sure to bleep this out. Is your Epic store name?
I'm like 90% sure it is.
Okay,
I'm
because
opening up my
I am
Epic
as
right
well.
now just to make sure.
I should have double checked that with
Um,
you, but I'll make sure to bleep out your name.
yeah, it definitely is.
Okay,
All together, no spaces, no underscores, no caps.
yes, okay, yep. Okay, that's what I have then. It says, and I don't think this is right, but it says you have 476 hours of playtime on Fortnite.
Now, do you think that's not right because it should be more or it should be less?
I think it should be more. The only reason I say that
Oh,
is I know you
okay.
personally. I know you used to
I
play Fortnite at least 1 to 2 matches a day.
feel like those hours are kind of right.
But you know what?
I don't know, but I could see them being more.
If this is
Just
in-game time.
because is it? Oh, it's in game
I
time,
was
so
gonna
like
say
not just like me sitting in a lobby.
I was wondering if it's in-game time, then I understand. If it's now if it's only time you actually spend in the I don't know what the map's called on Fortnite, but if it's only the time you spend playing on the map, okay, that I actually believe.
We'll see. I think it has to go based off like just having the game open because I got it when they had Save the World. That was
Yeah.
actually my interest was Save the World right before they even had Battle Royale. I want to play when they had Save the World. Um,
Mhm.
and I even bought that at their like their legendary edition that got me a free copy of Save the World to give to a friend. Uh, and I was playing a lot of Save the World, and I only stopped playing because there was a certain point you would reach where, in order to get onto the next area, you had to find like this mimic. And it never showed up. No matter how many times I played, no matter how many different maps I would go to, the mimic would never show up, so I could never progress into the next area. Which apparently a lot of people had that same issue. There's
Mm.
also a certain point where there was a mission you had to beat, and it was like this bomb that you blew up, and everybody else kept having the same issue. They could not complete that one. So there's like a couple bugs with it. But now I don't even know if they still got Save the World or if they completely
I
erased it.
I think Save the World's kind of a thing, but I don't think it's been updated since like 2021, 2022.
Yeah, I think that's what they did. I think they just stopped progressing in it because if they took away access, then dang, we just got another Destiny lawsuit of vaulting content.
And Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2. But now with that, looking at how many matches you've played, it looks like Fortnite you really play with the homies. Oh, and
Definitely, that's definitely a game to play with the
the
homies.
website just updated. Let
Uh,
me. So you have how many games, how many matches of Fortnite do you think you've played?
Definitely in the thousands, I would probably say.
Okay, thousands is right.
Up, okay, 2000 ish.
2,000? What
Uh,
about
I think
4,500?
two. Oh wow,
Yeah,
that's kind of a lot. I mean,
you're
this game was like 2018, right? So I
yeah
mean,
yeah.
for 7 years, a 7-year-old game. I would play this. I mean, back when I had a laptop that didn't even have a graphics card, and I literally got my CPU temperature to 99 degrees. I would play this in between classes. I popped up my laptop. We popped up. Some of the homies had their cell phones, their iPhones playing.
Would you play on your
Uh,
phone?
yeah, some classes, yeah. Some
Yeah,
professor
cause
wasn't looking and he didn't care. Yeah, we play on our phone.
yeah, cause you have 5 matches on your phone logged in.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I could not handle the playing on my phone.
Now,
Uh,
do you want to hear a stat that's gonna make you happy? It's gonna make the rest of your day better.
I'll
Your
hear it.
KD on Fortnite is 2.96. You're in the top 7% of the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
That, that strokes my ego a little bit.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if I believe this, but out of your 4,500 games, it says you've only won 298 of them.
I could see that a lot. I think I could definitely see that. I wonder how many games it would count though. Like are those just say actual battle royale games or just say Fortnite games?
Uh, it just says Fortnite, but you can do ranked, reloaded, and OG, and I have it set to the
Hmm.
lifetime.
Okay. Well, I was about to say, hopefully it's not counting any like not battle royale, save the world games as matches counted.
I don't think it
Because it was
will.
like same thing.
Ye-
You load up, you do the mission, you back out. But
I don't
I
think it
could see
will.
that. I feel like I don't. I've had a lot of wins.
Hmm.
Feel like you're always going to get more losses. It's very rare whenever we got our back to back wins. Uh, I think the most wins we've gotten might have been three back to back to back.
So you've been playing Fortnite since it's come out. Why
Yes.
why Fortnite? Why do you have so many hours and so many games in that game? What about it has always kept you coming back?
That is a very easy answer. And it was all because of Fortnite, that all these games started following suit. And that was cross platform, you know, no longer having to either just play something that everyone else had or on the same system. This was the one game that we had friends on every console, PlayStation, Xbox, PC, Switch, and it's free to play. So we're just able to all play together the one game. This is literally like the one game we can all play together. Like, sure, all of us have GTA 5, but not cross platform. Sure, all of us have Black Ops 3, not cross platform, you know? And sure, those are besides the exception of like GTA, old games that really never, they weren't getting new releases. But honestly, the games that are really getting my hours, and I think it's also clear with Marvel Rivals, are games that are free to play and cross platform. So
I definitely
those just they bring the market, your audience is just has a lot more potential to play. You make it open and available to every person.
I am glad that they finally did something. Cross platform should have happened way sooner than what it did.
And the funniest thing was it happened by accident. Like they're like, "Oh yeah, well we know we can do this, but we just accidentally enabled it when we weren't supposed to." And when everybody found out, like, "Oh, so this isn't an issue this entire time, but just the systems, like we're able to actually do this from the get go." It was just companies being greedy and wanting you to buy their system instead. Is the
Yeah,
hugest,
tragic.
Freaking yeah, tragic. We should hang someone for treason over this.
Yes, yes, we should. Treason. Well, now, as I can see your next love, which this is why I feel like you have more hours in Fortnite, because you've been playing it for 8 years, 7 years, I should say. You've been playing it since it's been released. You have 476 hours. But in Marvel Rivals, you have 273, and I imagine you played that at season zero.
Definitely. I
So
had my records at since season zero.
I'm thinking that Fortnite only tracks the time you're in world, while Marvel Rivals, since it's on Steam, is tracking whenever you launch the game to when you close.
True.
That's my guess.
Uh, well, definitely Steam games. I can tell you for a fact, if you have the game open, you don't gotta be playing. It's gonna
Yeah,
track your
it's gonna
time.
track your hours.
Um, I can
But
definitely tell you that. But I know Fortnite is always that one game that it comes and goes. Like right now, ever since like this new Star Wars update they did, haven't touched it at all.
yeah.
So there's this Fortnite. There's a certain year and seasons chapters that we just stopped playing. I know we kind of got back to it now once we heard they're bringing back the OG map. I think when season one came back out
Hmm.
uh, this past year, we hopped back on, and it was one of those ones like it's just always a come and go thing. Like it's never we're playing this consistently, daily, once a week, once a month. It's been a while, so that's definitely a game that's a come and go. It's never a you know staying there, hardworking, trusty, loyal.
Yeah. Now, another game that you have quite a lot of hours on is Destiny 2. But you've already brought up Destiny 2 and you don't seem to have fond
I'm
memories with
not
that
a.
one.
I've never grinded. I never grinded. I don't know
Yeah,
how that. I mean, that one being the next hours. It's probably just because we
186.
played Gambit. We played a. Oh wow, We played a lot of Gambit. Gambit was a fun game mode. Didn't really like Crucible at all. I think Gambit was because it was PVE. Then you had your PvP moments like somewhat in between it. Whereas Crucible always PvP. The first 2 weeks when it was like the pre-launch, the beta, open beta of Destiny 2, that was the best time I've ever had in Crucible when it was open beta. And as soon as the game launched, it was completely bad. It was just awful. Everybody knows the good weapons. Everybody's just doing metas. It's just this is ruining the experience. If everybody's just gonna go full try hard and just use the broken weapons all the time, nobody's gonna use whatever they just feel like using.
which I feel like metas kind of change the whole dynamic of the game. It takes away what people want to use. It feels like, well, I have to use this because everyone else is using that. Um,
Exactly.
but now,
If not, I'm just gonna get ran through.
yeah, yeah, if they're gonna take my cheeks, at least make it different. I don't want it to be the same thing every single time.
Yeah, I gotta add a little spice to it.
So now it's time for the game I'm actually really interested in. I've never seen gameplay of it, but Astroneer have 180 hours in that game.
It should
But,
be more.
but
I need to put more hours.
well, you bought it
I'm
for
going to. They have a DLC,
you
so I'm gonna need to buy that.
yes, definitely play that then. You bought it for $30 and you've played so much of it that you've essentially paid 17 cents per hour.
Wow.
So what was so and I know you've already talked about it a little bit, so you don't have to go as deep as you were, earlier in our conversation, but what about that game just spoke to you? Did you play it at launch? Did you see someone else play it? Was it the trailer and it was like, yes, this is for me?
So played it way back when I don't know the life stages of beta, open beta, or alphas, pre-alphas. Whatever was the earliest stage of this game, I had it. That is when I had it. It was me, my brother, and his friend. We bought it. I think me and the friend bought it first, and we were playing. And it was just one of these ones where like they didn't tell you how to do anything. This was definitely a very much a sandbox, just to kind of figure it out. But this was one where uh this like it's like I don't say geometric like landscape. If you ever look at it, like the whole terrain is made of triangles,
Yeah.
essentially. But it's still kind of like doesn't look like bad. It's like high quality. Your character is like a fully detailed model. You're not. They don't look, triangular. Um, but I don't know what it was. Either just about the art style or about the way you can just like destroy the environment and carve it to how you want it, um, or figure out how to make something like finding out like the different resources. Like there's the two main resources are called compound and resin, and then just finding out what combinations you use to either make a little solar panel that you put on your backpack to keep yourself charged. Then making these tethers to provide you oxygen and just explore the environment more and more as if you are an astronaut. uh, I think for me was just figuring out about that game was just that they had to completely like make their physics engine. This is actually a game I even saw like an hour, maybe 2 hour documentary on the life cycle of this game and how it came to be. And it actually has one of the kind of saddest stories in it that their main artist passed away during production. I want to say he did the unthinkable that nobody wants their friend to do. Uh, and I think that's how they found out. And it was kind of hard for them to continue on after that because they kind of felt like no other artist wanted to like step in and take his shoes because of how
Yeah.
much of an impact he had on the team, or that they felt they couldn't live up to his style and his vision. So they did have hit a point of like them having a hard time taking off, and they did eventually. They got someone, I don't know if it was in team or outsourced, who was able to like actually take over and really bring the vision to life. And it was like a small team, and they ended up creating something really great. And that was just off the art style. The physics, they couldn't use normal like Unreal Engine physics, like a car. You can drive this car that you can drive, but gravity just works flat. Like we just see all of our games as a flat map.
Yeah.
These planets are full 360 with the actual gravity in the center. If you got to the center in the early stages, you would actually just be stuck in the middle because you didn't have gravity to pull you to any land. So you kind of just like were stuck. Um, so they had to remake their physics so that way the car could actually work, and gravity being spherical rather than linearly down. Uh, that kind of also just grabbed my interest, and it was just one of those fun games of like you didn't know how anything worked and just figuring it out and learning things. That part I enjoyed, which is funny for me to say because that's literally kind of how all sandboxes are, and I'm just like also kind of not the biggest fan of other sandboxes, but this one grabbed. There's something about this that just put me in a chokehold and smacked me.
Well, now it's time for, I think you got some explaining to do. Now it's time to look at the games you haven't played. And I think you already know a few that I'm going to bring up. But
One.
how do you only have 3.6 hours in Cyberpunk 2077? Tell what happened
Honest,
there.
honestly, I don't know. I was really excited when this game was coming out, how good the graphics were supposed to be. Even now, like I have a 4090, I can power that thing like no problem. Probably besides my CPU might, be bottlenecking a bit. But that was one as soon as I, got it after I didn't buy it on release because of all the bugs and everything that was happening. I bought it a lot later. I think I bought it after the Edge Runners show. I
Oh,
bought it like
okay.
everybody else after Edge
Yeah.
Runners. Uh, and I played it for a bit, and it was just also one of those ones that just couldn't get into the time of sitting there and just then going to the next mission. I just where I was like, all right, I'm done. I need to go do
Ye-
something else or just go to sleep. And then just from there, the next day, oh hey guys, we're hopping on Fortnite. Like, all right, then didn't play the game, hopping on something else. That one is definitely one of those ones. Like I do have the interest, and I can see myself going back and finishing it. It's just taking the time to sit down and just play a single player game.
In
Dilemma again.
your opinion, because I bought Cyberpunk on the PS4 during when it first came out, that horrendous launch, and so it always has a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. And then I just didn't play it a month after I bought it because I couldn't even run it, and my PS4 would always crash. I couldn't even play the game. So I gave it another chance after I bought a PS5 and Edge Runners came out, right?
Yeah.
And I replayed it, and I don't know if it's the bad taste in my mouth, but in your opinion, I feel like people just glaze Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk gets too much glaze.
I can somewhat see that. I think because it had very high expectations, being CD Project Red,
Hmm.
the producers of Witcher, that it just had such high expectations for it off the rip, um, that it just gave itself such a high pedestal that it could not actually stand up on.
Yes. And if that was the internet's fault or the developers or a mix of both, they were never
I
going to
think
reach it.
it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
It's developers. If I can remember correctly, they kind of just showed a lot. Promised a lot. No loading screens, right? You can go into like almost any room, any door, any building.
Yes.
Um, that huge promise that every company ends up making that they know they end up not being able to fulfill. I think Star Citizen, I believe, was also kind of one of the same companies that kind of did that.
Hmm.
Um, as well as I don't know how much they showed, but that also then reminds me of like Kingdom Hearts 3. Kingdom Hearts 3 showed so much of their game that when it came time to actually play the game, there was no like secrets or surprises left.
Yeah.
Everything was just kind of shown to us already. But Cyberpunk definitely just had itself on a high pedestal of promises,
They didn't
and the
show it.
fans just were excited.
They didn't show enough of their hand, and I think that was a problem with Cyberpunk.
Yeah, they showed us Keanu Reeves, and
Yeah.
that was
Keanu Reeves
for a lot
carried.
of people that was enough.
Yes. It was enough for me. That's why I bought it. It was enough for me. When I saw Keanu Reeves, he stole my money. That was not money in my bank anymore, but I
He
wish it
had you at
was.
gunpoint.
Yeah, he he had me at gunpoint. Um, Now an even bigger crime, and I'm looking at it right now. I've been staring at it since I hit record because I've been wanting to get here. It took us quite a while to get here, but I have to ask, how on God's green earth do you only have 4 hours in Baldur's Gate 3? You can't even
That
explain
one,
yourself. There's no explanation. You didn't even get through Act 1. You didn't even
I'm
like
not gonna lie, an hour might have just been on character creation, if I'm being honest.
you didn't even escape the nautiloid. Like
I'm definitely still whatever the first area is, of the crash wreck beach, I believe, by the ship. I got out of the ship.
Yes.
I know that. I got out of the ship, and I think I went into some like castle building. I think that is where I am currently at.
You
Um,
got like maybe 0.02% through the game.
so I don't know what it is. I'm like I've played the kind of game style before, like
Mhm.
the aerial view, bird's eye view. It's like to me, it's reminiscent of like 2.5D. It's kind of how they say like, even though I know you can't like change your angles, it's true 3D, but top down view like that. I don't know if you remember the Fate games,
Yes.
uh, those dungeon crawlers. I played a lot out of those games back then, uh, so I kind of have can get that same interest into it. I don't know. I don't know what it was at the time. It just was enticing because it's like, is it like Diablo? Isn't Diablo like the same kind of top down style
Well, so it is a
and World of
bird's eye.
Warcraft?
It's a bird's eye view like Diablo or World of Warcraft, but it's a real-time strategy. So it plays like how D&D actually plays, where you move your character so many yards or feet, and
Mhm.
then you only get so many actions and bonus actions, and then after you used all your turns, then the enemy gets their turn. But everything's based on a dice roll like D&D. So like talking is on dice rolls, certain skill checks are dice rolls, even attacks are on dice rolls.
Yeah, I do remember some of that gameplay, specifically with the fighting of like, oh, you went your distance. Well, that's all you can kind of do. You kind of
Yes.
gave up your because you went that distance. You kind of gave up your chance to doing an attack. Uh, I think I could be wrong. I also only played 3 hours of the game, so what do I know?
Yeah, yeah. I I will say like you got to go back to it. That is the definition. Like what you're telling me
I
right
gotta
now, what you're telling me is sorry waiter.
I
My
I gotta go
lobster's
find that. too,
my
my lobster's too buttery. My steak too juicy.
yes. That's what Baldur's Gate 3 is. Sorry waiter. This is too good. Give me
My
something
steak's
else.
too fat.
What? Like 4 hours? Dog.
I'll
You,
go back just for you. I will
just,
go back.
just for me, you have
I'll give it another 2 hours. I'll give it another two
yes.
hours.
Give look, trust me. Give it another 2 hours, and your mind will expand. Your third eye will
Let me
open.
just go find that bear.
Yeah. Yes. Go find Halson, and then he's the bear. And trust me, your perspective will change. Well, we're about an hour in, so I just got a few more questions for you, and then we'll wrap it up. Um, do you think your taste of games reflect where you're at in life now?
Uh, no, I don't think so. Is this supposed to be like as I get older, I'm supposed to really like golf a lot more? I'm supposed to like PGA World Tour games instead. You know?
It could be one of those questions. It could be, as I get older, I don't like games that are as hard. Or like when we make the joke of, oh, it's so nice that you're a blue collar dad supporting your family of five. It's like, yeah, maybe if I did work at the ball crushing factory where they crush my balls, maybe I don't want to play Marvel Rivals where Spider-Man takes me around back.
Is
I have to call him Requise.
okay. I could probably see that. I kind of hope there's in a time where I do get bad at games, but there is definitely gonna be a point where like, all right, this just isn't me having to learn something new again.
Yeah.
Uh, but at least right now, like first person shooters, like playing Warzone, uh, I feel like I can still hold my own for the most part. They're obviously gonna be the people who play this game 24/7 and don't have a life outside of playing games to where they have no problem being a Spider-Man and taking you around back and throwing a tower over your head and flashbanging you,
Yes.
as they proceed to skull you. His name
Yes.
is
Yes. While calling him Requise.
while calling him a priest, a
Uh,
big brolic man.
yeah, yes. All right. My last question of the day. Wait, hold on, if I can find it. I had it somewhere. Oh, what's a popular trend in gaming you wish would go away?
Battle passes.
Okay.
Battle passes. I don't want to say pay to win. I feel like there's they need to bring back essentially the you have the skin and you unlocked it is because you were a badass. Like you were the skill that took the talent to actually unlock this piece of armor that shows and like actually like, that you did good, that you're a good freaking player. Something to put the fear back in your eyes, you know? Like someone like Marvel Rivals like with their Lord icons. But now you can see a Lord icon and you know the fact that you get points for just playtime. Something could be 40 hours and end up getting a Lord just because they put 40 hours on the character. And it means nothing because they're absolutely garbage.
like a Lord Black Panther,
Yeah. Lord Black Panther
Lord
can
Tickle Monster.
goes both ways. Hey, right now, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what they did. Black Panther, he ends up being like Requise, you know? He just ends up
Eh,
being sometimes.
It's because
There's
they had
sometimes he's like Requise.
That's because they got Emma Frost in the game. So if you're playing Black Panther gets a 40% damage buff when Emma Frost is on his team.
Ah, dang. So he's just like Terry Crews and White
Yeah,
Chicks,
you can't
you know?
fold. You can't fold near the Snow Bunny.
Who took out the sun?
Yeah. Well, thank you again, Alonso. It's been a pleasure. I hope you have
Anytime.
a great rest of your day, and we'll wrap it up here.
Well, hopefully this blows up. We can do this again because we still got hot takes. Like sports games have no excuse to not be hyper realistic graphics.
Yes, we'll get into that next time. Thank you very much. I don't know. I didn't.
See ya.
What do you even do for an outro? Bye.